we bid farewell to Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala Jr. and welcome Command Sergeant Major Keon Cummings. The reviewing officer for today's ceremony is the Commanding General of the United States Army Maneuver Support Center of Excellence, Major General Christopher G. Beck. At this time, we would like to recognize our distinguished guests in attendance. The Honorable Sean Wilson, Mayor of Waynesville, Missouri. The Honorable James Breckenridge, Mayor of St. Robert, Missouri. From the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence, Major General Christopher G. Beck and his wife, Sally. Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala Jr. and his wife, Vanessa, daughter Citlali and Itzel, and his sons, Damian and Roberto, and Miss Patricia Cornejo, his mother-in-law. A special welcome to our community supporters and friends. We would like to extend a warm welcome to Command Sergeant Major Keon Cummings and his wife, Melody. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party, the playing of honors, the national anthem sung by Citlali Arzabala, and the invocation given by Chaplain Ludwig.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, o'er the ramparts we rode, and the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
I invite you to pray with me. Heavenly Father, we gather today in gratitude and reverence as we witness the change of responsibility. You have guided the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence through seasons of change and success, and we acknowledge your steady hand overall. We thank you for Command Sergeant Major Arzabala for his years of faithful service his steadfast leadership, and his unwavering commitment to soldiers and mission. As he closes this chapter and enters retirement, grant him peace, fulfillment, and the deep satisfaction of a life poured out in service. Bless him and Vanessa and his family in the days ahead with health, joy, and new purpose. And Lord, we also lift up Command Sergeant Major Cummings and as he assumes this great responsibility. Grant him wisdom to lead with clarity, courage to make difficult decisions, and the humility to serve selflessly. May he be a source of strength, discipline, and inspiration to all entrusted to his care. Bless him and Melody and his family in the days ahead. For us in formation today, we ask unity of purpose, resilience in adversity, and excellence in all things. May they continue to uphold the highest standards of duty, honor, and country. Guide us all, Lord, in the responsibilities we carry, reminding us of true leadership, that it is rooted in the service to others. We commit this moment and this transition into your hands. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The spouses of our senior leaders are pillars of strength for our military community. Today, we honor their support and welcome them. Drill Sergeant Rodriguez, the MISCO Drill Sergeant of the Year, will now present Ms. Vanessa Arzabala with a bouquet of red roses. These roses symbolize a farewell with the deepest respect and appreciation for her dedicated service to the soldiers and families of this command. Ms. Arzabala is joined by her daughters, Sitlali and Itzel, who will each be presented with a single rose.
Wow.
Sergeant Franco will now present Ms. Cummings with a bouquet of yellow roses, symbolizing a warm welcome to the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence in Fort Lauderdale family. From ancient times, armies throughout the world have conducted ceremonies to commemorate victories, honor comrades, and celebrate special occasions. For over 250 years, these ceremonies have added color and pageantry to Army life, preserving tradition and stimulating esprit de corps. They reaffirm that the Army is built upon a foundation of cherished values and traditions. Today, you will witness a sacred part of that tradition, the change of responsibility. This ceremony is rich with symbolism, and its key is the passing of the United States Army Maneuver Support Center of Excellence colors. The very soul of a military unit is symbolized by its colors. They represent not only the lineage and honors of the unit, but also the loyalty and unity of its soldiers and civilians. The custodian of the colors is the Command Sergeant Major, the senior enlisted soldier and principal advisor to the Commanding General. The Command Sergeant Major is the guardian of standards, the steward of history, and is charged with the health, welfare, morale, and discipline of every member of the command. Therefore, the passing of the colors is the physical manifestation of the transfer of this sacred trust and authority. As Command Sergeant Major Arzabala relinquishes the colors, he signifies the completion of his duty. As Command Sergeant Major Cummings accepts them, he pledges to uphold the same trust. This event reaffirms to the soldiers of the command that the mantle of leadership is never dropped. It is passed with honor from one capable leader to the next, ensuring the unit remains always ready. Ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now move forward and execute the change of responsibility. The passing of the colors signifies the transfer of responsibility from one Sergeant Major to the next. Command Sergeant Major Arzabala receives the colors. Command Sergeant Major Arzabala will now pass the colors to Major General Beck, relinquishing his duties as the keeper of the colors. Major General Beck now passes the colors to Command Sergeant Major Cummings, charging him with the responsibility as the new Command Sergeant Major of the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence. Command Sergeant Major Cummings accepts his role as the new keeper of the colors and returns them to the color sergeant. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Christopher G. Beck.
So I'm not going to lie, it was 50-50 whether he was going to give up the color or not. We had our rehearsal yesterday and he didn't hand them to me. So I want to start by thanking everybody and welcoming everybody. This is a great turnout. As Sergeant Major Arzabala said earlier, this is indicative of the impact he has had, and not only on our current team. You look across this audience and the people that have come back to help him and his family celebrate this incredible milestone it is amazing. And then you look at those same audience and this same team as we welcome Command Sergeant Major Cummings and his wife Melody. It's a great day today. So first I want to talk a little bit about the Arzabalas, and I mentioned some of this during my remarks for the award. So starting with the kids, and I use that term very loosely because they're not. They are great young adults. I've had the opportunity along with my wife to get to know each of them through various ceremonies. I've been to different ceremonies I didn't even know existed, and it's been amazing in each one of them because they are incredible young men and women, and that only is due to the fact that they have great parents, great role models that have done an incredible job making them the young men and women that they are today. I also mentioned Vanessa previously, and many of you know the work she does for all of our team in the Education Center. And what you don't know is how she goes above and beyond in that job. She actually got an email about a month ago from some guy who thinks he's the senior mission commander on this installation, asking her to look at my records. And she did. And after she stopped laughing, she gave me some really good advice for my future. The reality is, that's just indicative of she will help anyone and everyone, no matter who they are, no matter what they need. And she will go above and beyond always. Many of you may not know our Spouse Resource Center. That was originally her idea. And while it's done a great job in its first couple of years, the number of families that you guys don't get the opportunity to see that I do, that go through that and are positively influenced is amazing. I think we are now, again, the only installation in the Department of Army that has that capability, and that's amazing. And that is all her idea. So again, what I said earlier is 100% true. If you look at the things like the Education Center, the SRC, and all of the things she did with things like the Spouses Club and all the other events, agencies, and organizations she worked with, every single thing was about giving back. Everything was about giving back. There was nothing that Vanessa did for Vanessa. As a matter of fact, the thing she probably hated the most was when she was called Mrs. Arzabala, because that immediately put her with the Command Major of the installation, and then she couldn't kind of work underneath the scenes and help people. But you have been an incredible asset to this organization, to this team, and to this Army. I'll talk a little bit about this with Command Sergeant Major Arzabala, but none of us that serve to make a legacy. And as a pet, you don't normally talk about a legacy with a spouse. You are leaving a legacy. There are a lot of people in this room and a lot of people in this installation that you have helped get to where they are today or get to where they're going to next. And there are not a whole lot of people that can say that. So as you move on to what's next, you need to know that you did this right and you were an incredible force of nature for this installation in our Army. So thank you.
Oh.
Transition to Command Sergeant Major Arzabala, as I said, there's not a whole lot of battle buddies like him. I tell people all the time, he wasn't always the tallest in the room, so I couldn't find him, but if you just stopped and listened, you could find him pretty quick. I really enjoy the video, and I say this at the retirement ceremony, but it couldn't be more true right now. I like that video at the retirements because it shows the life cycle of what we do at Fort Leonard Wood. And there is no one that more embodies the life cycle of Fort Leonard Wood than Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala. You guys have heard both of us speak multiple times, and we both say we've been here 4 times previously. And he reminds me, especially as we drive by some of the buildings, more than 2 decades ago, I was in basic training in that building. Had my 18th birthday in that building. That's when it started. And as he would say, He never thought he'd get to be to retire as the installation sergeant major. But you know what? There isn't a better person I know and have served with that I can say has done that job. So when you look at those young trainees today, the influence he had on them, and for those of you that aren't enlisted, I've had the opportunity to see there is nobody that leaves an impact more than a drill sergeant. I can't go anywhere on this installation with him that he doesn't run into somebody that says, "You were my drill sergeant." It's amazing. So when you look at the life cycle of what we do here at Fort Leonard Wood, you are the epitome of that life cycle. You all know what he's done for our installation in the past few years, things like driving readiness, driving field craft with things like the forge and our field problems, multiple field problems. There isn't a company command team on this installation that when he pulls up in the field doesn't go, "Oh God, he's here." But the reality is everything he drove, every standard that he upheld had nothing to do with what he wanted. It was all about how do we make our young men and women the best we can so that when they graduate from here and they go to the Army, they are ready to serve our nation. Again, it was all about giving back. He did other things like help the team evolve. Each unit calls it something different, whether it's into the breach or first 100 yards. How do we inculcate and integrate these young men and women? We have improved that immensely, and that's because of his direct hand in leadership. When I sat down with him 3 years ago and said, "Sergeant Major, these are the things I want you to talk about. I want you to lead, I want you to drive." He didn't say anything, but I got it. And he did. And he made a difference every single day. He also did a lot in the realm of protection. So you guys have all heard me talk about protection. You know how proud I am of our entire team and what we've driven. He has personally spent a lot of time with senior NCOs helping them understand what it means to them as senior NCOs. Because we can't just stop talking about that within the walls of Fort Leonard Wood. We have to take that to the Army. And he has taken that charge very seriously. Whether it's traveling to the Sergeant Major's Academy, whether it's talking to our NCO Academy classes, or whether it's just talking to people as he integrates and visits units. He has led that charge. He's frankly written one of the best articles I've read on protection. So he has helped us change the Army. So when we retire, we want to look back and say we had an impact. And again, I can't tell you what an impact you have had. I have only had the opportunity to see it for the last 3 years, and I know that this is a small indicator of the impact you have had for the last 2+ decades. You are a force of nature. You have truly changed countless organizations and people. And for those of you that have been to a ceremony, a retirement ceremony with me, you probably ask, what do I say when I hand them the certificate and the flag? That's exactly what I said. It's thank you for your impact on people and organizations. And there is no one as true to that statement as Jorge Arzabala. He's had every tough job. I will talk bad about him because he's Seaburn. I can't do it. I can't. It is what it is. But you look at every tough job he's had in Seaburn, every unit he's been a senior leader in, and how stretched they are across, frankly, the globe. And every single opportunity he had with those units, he spent time out with soldiers. He spent time ensuring that they understood why their mission was so critical to our Army. Not every leader does that. Not every leader takes the time to truly be with a soldier. We all know that we're supposed to do that, but he truly embodied that. So the impact that you have had on soldiers and organizations, that is not just a sentence. Appreciate that. And then lastly, again, as you look at a legacy, none of us that wear a uniform want to retire and say, well, what was our legacy? That's not why we serve. But the reality is, when you look at someone like Jorge Arzabala, there is no way that you can't think of what his legacy is. What's exciting, even though he's retiring today, what's exciting is that there are us in this crowd, us in this building, and us in this Army he will influence for the next couple of decades to come. And that matters. There will be people that will talk about Jorge Arzabala for years. I think the Seaburn team at his farewell the other night said, within the regiment, he is a legend. I can tell you within the Army, he's a legend. I've never talked to a senior NCO, sergeant major, that doesn't work on this installation about him, and they've said, who are you talking about? Not one. Not one. They normally start with a hooah! Yeah, that's it. But the reality is, then it quickly turns to the impact that he has had on the Army. And again, I don't have conversations like that about everybody, so thank you. Lastly, I want to thank you personally. And I've said this before, I did not get a chance to select Jorge Arzabala when I came on board. I didn't know him, I had never met him. I asked people about him, I got solid feedback, but you're never sure. You're never sure if you're quite going to click. I can tell you, there's never a day that we didn't click. From the first time we met, first time we talked, to him just handing me the colors. He has been a battle buddy that I would go through anything with. And I said to him, I'd be willing to serve with him forever and always, anywhere. And I really mean that. So while you are skilled, and you're smart, and you're a technical leader and very good at it, what you do is care. And that is evident on the people that are represented in this crowd and the people that they represent in this organization. You care. The story I told earlier about the canteen, that was just one in many. And he says at our Arrive Strong talk, and he's not wholeheartedly wrong, you can't go anywhere with him and expect to get there on time or leave on time. Because he is going to stop and talk to everyone, not because he wants to be a social butterfly, but because he does that to check on how you are. He really wants to be sure that you're having a good day. It's not just a loaded comment. He cares about every person that works here, that works in our Army, and that he has the opportunity to serve with. So I just want to end by saying thank you. Now, as I transition to my new battle buddy, Command Sergeant Major Cummings, I want to welcome you, your wife Melody, kids Nalia and Zion. What a great team to step in. I've had the opportunity to serve with Command Sergeant Major Cummings before. I know what the leader I'm getting is. I know what the leader you all are getting is. And it's hard shoes to fill, Jorge Arzabala. But Sergeant Major Cummings is the right person to do that. He stepped right in, and he will help continue to take us to the next level. I am truly excited to serve with both of you, so thank you very much. He's got more than 2 decades of service to include combat tours in every vacation spot that we've all had the opportunity to see in the last few decades. And in each one of those, he's excelled. At every level prior to joining our team, he has excelled. He's been part of driving change, training leaders, and transforming the Army everywhere he's been. So this will be no different. I do want to be sure that we understand, again, transitions are never easy. As Sergeant Major Arzabala said, there are very few other than babies that like change. But me as a leader, there's nothing that I can be more comfortable with than as I say goodbye to one great leader and family, welcoming another great leader and family to our team. So I want to welcome you guys to the MISCO team and know that you will be great assets to us moving forward. Thank you.
Oh.
So as I wrap up, team, again, I want to say thank you all for coming out today and celebrating 2 great military families, 2 great military leaders, and the reality that they have done, the departing Arzabalas have done an incredible job helping make this the greatest place that I can think of to serve. We all say all the time, we want folks to leave here better than they got here. Sergeant Major, I'd like to say, I think you did. As we welcome Sergeant Major Cummings and Melody, we are excited about you taking us to the next level. So team, thank you for everything you do every day. Be all you can be. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, Command Sergeant Major Cummings.
Definitely can't follow it out, but I will try. Well, first and foremost, I give honor to God, for through him all things are possible. To our distinguished guests and leaders, Major General Beck, the Honorable Mayor Breckenridge, the Honorable Mayor Wilson, commanders, fellow command sergeant majors, leaders, soldiers, and families of the Fort Leonard community. Thank you for being here. It is truly an honor to stand before you today as I assume responsibility as the 13th Maneuver Support Center of Excellence in Fort Leonard Wood Command Sergeant Major. Major General Beck, thank you for selecting me to serve alongside you. When I started my career here in Charlie 35th Engineer Battalion in 2002 for basic training, and later returning in 2008 as a drill sergeant in 3rd Chemical Brigade, I couldn't have envisioned this moment, this opportunity. Like many young soldiers, I was focused on the next day, the next mission, the next assignment. But along the way, the Army invested in me. Leaders mentored me. My family supported me. And together they shaped the leader that stands before you today. Now it's my turn. My commitment is simple. Develop leaders, build teams, and empower our warfare. We will continue to train, lead, and demonstrate why we are the best trained and most capable force in the world. As we don't train until we get it right, and we train until we can't get it wrong. I look forward to advancing the protection, warfighting function through leader empowerment, innovation, professionalism, and talent management. To Command Sergeant Major Arzabala, thank you. You have not been just a good mentor, but you have shown me what life looks like since I first met you. Your leadership and mentorship over the years, and even now, has ensured a seamless transition and set the conditions for success. Melody and I are grateful, and we wish you, Vanessa, and your family the very best in your future endeavors. To my family, thank you for your unwavering support. You've always kept me grounded, focused, and reminded me I am who I am because of who I am. And I will continue to, and you will continue to push me to be better every single day. I am who I am because of each of you. To Melody, my beautiful bride, thank you for being my foundation, my partner, my strength. I'm excited for what lies ahead of us here at Fort Leonard. I am humbled for this opportunity and the adventures that await us and this amazing team. Achieving in every field of human endeavor, victory through skill, from vision to victory, this will be fame.
We will now officially retire Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala Jr. Retirement ceremony is a time-honored custom where we recognize a career of honor, duty, and devotion. In days past, when soldiers retired, their entire regiment turned out to honor them with a farewell review. In keeping with that custom, we, at the Maneuver Support Center of Excellence, joined together to recognize the career of Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala Jr., who has served his country with honor, duty, and devotion. This leader has stood his post, amassing 27 years of faithful service. However, today we exercise the first general order and properly relieve him of his post as we bid him a fond farewell. Although we cannot repay him for his service, we stand with him and his family today to salute their commitment to our nation. Command Sergeant Major Arzabala will receive a certificate of appreciation from the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States. The certificate reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of the military service. I trust that in the coming years you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you serve. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. On behalf of a grateful nation, Major General Christopher Beck is now presenting Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala his retirement certificate, the American flag, and a retiree pin to wear with pride. Major General Beck will now be presenting Ms. Vanessa Arzabala with a certificate of appreciation recognizing her support to her husband. The certificate reads, "In recognition of your unfailing support, dedication, and personal sacrifice during the 27-year military career of your husband, Command Sergeant Major Jorge Arzabala, your steadfast resilience on the home front through multiple deployments, permanent changes of station, and the unique challenges of military life has been instrumental to his success and service to our nation. Your quiet patriotism and unwavering commitment reflect great credit upon you, your family, and the Department of War. We congratulate you on this retirement, as it is truly a shared achievement."
Oh. Gotta get the pen. Gotta get the pen. Thank you, sir. Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, Command Sergeant Major, retired Jorge Arzabala.
All right. Good morning. Buenos dias. Hey, today's a great day to be a soldier. But in fact, every day is a great day to be a soldier in this United States Army. To all distinguished guests, visitors, friends, thank you for taking the time today out of your busy schedules to come join with all of us in my family for our career. Now, I prepared a speech. And I'll try to keep on time, but after 27 years and seeing everybody over there, there's one key fact that I've learned in my military career. There's nothing worse for a war story than somebody who was actually there being in the same room with you. So, I'll start off with that, all right? So, and I ask everyone to please join me in a round of applause for Citlali's rendition of the national anthem. Thank you. Paying for the college is working out down here. To everybody who put the ceremony together, thank you very much. My intent for this ceremony was simple. Do the same thing that every soldier gets, because we live by a key principle. I'll never require a soldier to attempt any task that I will not do myself. And just like the way we walk, every soldier on Fort Leonard Wood has the same retirement. And I'm no special. I'm no better than anyone. I'm just a product of this organization. To Sergeant Bergman, the last remnant of the 399. I leave today knowing that the very best band and the last holdout is here. So thank you very much, because you always classic the joint, Sergeant Bergman. And I have to thank God. He has given me more than I deserved over my life. Without him, nothing would have been possible. And I'm truly grateful. But as I look today at all of you, it reminds me of why Fort Leonard was so special. As you heard, 1999 I arrived with the first class of Seaburn soldiers. And as Eric Adams said, those of you remember Mr. Eric Adams, he had during his retirement, he said, everybody comes in need when they come to the gates of Fort Leonard Wood. Doesn't matter who you are. We were in need at that time, and I never in my wildest dreams would have had a thought that I would be here today with you, retiring after 27 years. The Army has truly given me a first row seat to the great things that this institution is and what it has done. For the last 40 months, I have the true privilege of working with each and every one of you. I've had the opportunity to see great leaders, great talents, and we've all had hard times we've had to pass. And that has not been an easy feat. But regardless, Fort Leonard Wood keeps on doing the Army's business. And it's because of each one of you. I will group this into a few groups for the speech purpose, but our number one, there's a three-phase approach of what makes Fort Leonard Wood successful. And number one is our drill sergeants and our instructors. They are the heartbeat of what we do here day in and day out. Early morning, 04, they're out there getting the privates ready, and they're instilling discipline. Our instructors are going above and beyond to make sure that POI is taught. And without them, that couldn't be possible, because they truly are the heartbeat of this organization. To the cadre, the second tier is the cadre, the staff, and all our DA civilians on the team. You truly do an excellent job at continuing to keep the continuity for our organization. We've never been manned appropriately. ACMG still keeps us at 70%, but everyone's pushing beyond their weight. Everybody is going above and beyond supporting those drill sergeants in this relentless mission. I always talk about it's Groundhog Day here, and it truly is. It truly is Groundhog Day, but thank you for everything you do. And finally, the important piece is we couldn't do it without our trainees, right? And they're so special, and bless them all, especially when I talk to all my drill sergeants, right? Because they always have to talk about trainees, but without them, we can't do it. And ladies and gentlemen, these fine young men and women have rose their hand and sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. They are the future generation, and nobody is number one. Matter of fact, I didn't score 40 out of 40. I didn't max out my PT test when I was a private. I never would have had an idea that the career that was ahead of me. But why it was is because of the leaders that are out here today and the non-commissioned officers that have pushed each and every boundary every day to give me what I needed. And it wasn't necessarily what we want, because what we want and what we need are two different things. But those leaders have made a difference here at Leonard Wood. Throughout the Army, they have always made a difference. And at the end of the day, today is a sad day, but it is sweet. I talked about it. Everybody says bittersweet. To me, it's just sweet. Because never in my wildest dreams, and after serving here for 40 months as a Sergeant Major, 8 years as a non-commissioned officer, out of my 27, never would I have imagined that. But I can only attest this as a first-generation soldier, and I came here with a lot of need. I didn't know what the Army was. I didn't even know what Seaburn was. I just saw a white lab coat, and I said, that sounds like a good job. I think I need it somewhere. I need to make sure I get my white lab coat somewhere before I retire. After 27 years, I've never seen a daggone white lab coat. But I truly appreciate my family, my mother, who couldn't be here today. But without her love, I couldn't have done it throughout. My father passed away at a young age, at 8 years old. And my godparents were significant in my foundation as a human. And like anybody else, I was a rebellious young teenager that didn't have anything. I left home, and at 17 years old, I arrived here at Fort Leonard Wood. I was building 738, and I remember on my birthday, the fireworks were going off, right, at 3rd of July, 4th of July ceremony, and I was like, man, I don't even know what this is, right? And I'd always talk about how culture shock I was, because I didn't even know what grits were when I got to Fort Leonard Wood. That's how much of a culture shock it was. But the Army gave me the discipline. My family founded the foundation, but I wouldn't be able to do this without my grandfather, Juan Arzabala. He was the one that was instrumental for me to be an American citizen. He invested everything that he had to make sure that my family and we were Americans. And after my 27 years, this career has all been served for him. Because without him, I wouldn't be an American. And I would not have the privileges. And ladies and gentlemen, when we think about why we do this, it's because we want to make sure that our grandchildren and our children are afforded the same opportunities and our way of life as Americans, which is the most important thing. So for the 27 years, it has truly been my honor to wear our nation's cloth and to serve as a 12-star major. But I'm no special because out there, what you all are doing every day, what we're doing, we're creating the next Beck, we're creating the next Palmer, we're creating the next Castleberry, and maybe somewhere in there, there's the next Arzabala that's coming through and we don't know. But we will give those opportunities to those individuals so that they truly can be all they can be. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with a quote. I think quotes are important, right? But in the words of a famous All-American, a soldier, and even a groundskeeper for Sergeant Dodd. I thought about that one. I'm tired. Think I'll go home now. But it's truly been an awesome time, ladies and gentlemen. I always try to keep it light. Thank you very much for everything. To my friends and family, thanks for coming out. I look forward to this day. I don't know what I'm really going to be doing in an hour, but it's going to be fun. It's all I know. So thank you very much. Agent 7, signing off from Nick. Victory through skill. This will defend. Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the playing of Old Soldiers Never Die, Auld Lang Syne, and the Army Song.
Loud and strong, for where we go,
today's ceremony. Please join Major General Christopher Beck in the atrium in congratulating Command Sergeant Major Cummings and his family, and wishing Command Sergeant Major retired Arzabala and his family a fond farewell. Please enjoy the refreshments. Thank you.